I'm glad you are able to join today. My name's Shellen Brion, and I am one of our Salesforce success coaches here at Supermums. And our time today is really dedicated to having a conversation, sharing with you the admin course and the Supermums community, and certainly being able to answer any specific questions you might have. So I guess to start with, do you have any specific questions, or would you like me to kind of start from the beginning and give a bit of an overview?
Yeah, I would appreciate you can start with the overview. I do have some questions, and
Okay.
I did take the 5 day challenge, so I watched all the 5 videos.
Excellent. Perfect. Well, let me go over a bit of, I'm going to actually share a screen here. Give me just one moment.
And also, first, thank you very much for offering this discovery call. Thank you so much
Oh,
for your time.
excellent. I'm glad it worked well for you. Okay. And if you do have any more questions after tonight, please feel free to schedule, um, just a one-on-one as well.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes, absolutely. So I did want to share, part of Supermoms is a community. We welcome anyone to take our courses. We have a special mission to really help moms get skilled up in Salesforce and find flexible and well paid work. Our founder is Heather Black. She's our CEO. And this was very much her journey. So she has so much of a connection to the challenges and opportunities and has just a special mission to tackle the gender equality and pay within the whole space of tech and specifically within Salesforce, and wanted to have an impact, make a difference. And we have some wonderful sponsors who help make that possible and make it more accessible. And Salesforce, just as a career choice, is such a compelling opportunity because of the vastness of the company, the success over the years, and continuing growing. It is a great place for women. And within the tech sector specifically, there's a lot of focus there. So just wanted to make sure, in terms of the foundational opportunity of investing time and resources into learning and making a pivot, it has a tremendous future. And some of you may be more familiar than others with Salesforce. And in the past, Salesforce was very much a CRM system, customer relationship management. Today, it is so much more. And Salesforce gives companies a 360-degree view of their customers. It creates really personalized customer experiences. And during COVID, and just the whole pandemic window, Salesforce grew, leaps and bounds because so many companies realized that when there was any kind of disruption, they didn't have the ability to nurture and connect with their customers. There's tremendous analytics and data with security. So today, companies have Salesforce involved in their sales or service, marketing initiatives, commerce, analytics, sustainability. So it's just a much bigger um, series of solutions and just opportunity in general. And what are the benefits of creating these types of opportunities and getting the Salesforce? Although we are seeing a bit of a swing back to having some hybrid and in-person opportunities, there are still so many roles that are flexible and remote that have a little more opportunity for work-life balance. And for me, that was the biggest driver of the change, and it has really proven to be what I expected. For many people, there's a lot of financial freedom, a lot of opportunity for upside, for stability, for growth and demand. And there's, unlike many career choices where if you want to grow and learn and pivot, you often have to, make another career change. Within Salesforce, there's so much flexibility for you to be able to have times where you may want to put on the gas and accelerate your career, or times with your family or other interests that you want to, slow down a little bit, have more flexibility. Tremendous amount of career growth, and that constant learning. So today there's so much change, there's so much growth, and there's a lot of ability to do that and to be up to speed. Cloud computing in general, so not just Salesforce, but there is these, flexible work arrangements. And although, again, as I mentioned, we welcome anyone into the community and into our courses, we do have that specialized mission to help people who are looking for flexible work with family. And that is, in fact, what we specialize in, helping people make those arrangements within companies that maybe that isn't, work from home or flexibility first. We help them create what are the scenarios and situations and accommodations that can be made. And then we definitely look to partner with companies looking to place people into those types of part-time, flexible, contract work, hybrid. So there's a lot of variety in working for Salesforce, the company, with the, many, many thousands of Salesforce customers and a growing ecosystem of partner companies. So there's just so many places for opportunity. And I'll share this in pounds and dollars, but it translates out. These are just some, generalized bands. We certainly see things outside of this range, but you can see that there's a nice path for growth from that Salesforce administrator, those foundational roles, into being a business analyst or a consultant. Project management has a really big range. That Salesforce developer can move up, much higher. And in marketing, that's a really interesting space for a lot of people. There's high demand for marketing cloud. And then these are the dollars for those of you joining us from the United States. Here's this range in more dollars. So again, there's a variety of salaries that we see, but these are some really ballpark ranges that can be helpful for you. And over time, the program has been, Supermums just celebrated 7 years. So we have been in place. We've had a variety of cohorts around the world and had a chance to really work with the formula to help people be very successful. And that having that peer community, that support is so foundational. The balance between some live training and self-study, the self-study and that digital component is so flexible and attractive. And for most of us, it's challenging. And it's so nice to have that balance with some live learning and someone to go to ask questions or look at a variety of solutions, especially those of us who are newer. We don't have as much experience to pull from, and it's really valuable to have that live coaching. The training managers, so we have found that it's really important to have people invested and part of the company and building the training, very invested in the success of it, rather than just contracting for specific classes. So we have those training managers that are part of our company. The one-on-one mentoring. So often when people are being interviewed and companies are evaluating candidates, that person who's had that mentoring, that one-on-one, who can be there for advice and support, is really essential, and it's something that can be very valuable. So as you're newer, it's sometimes a challenge when you don't have the work experience that companies may prefer. But when you have this type of a program, and we'll dive a lot deeper, and you have references from trainers, from your one-on-one mentor, and we'll share more about the work experience project, you're really elevated in a pool of candidates. The real work experience is a component that is a key part of the program. And having that work experience project where you've actually worked with a customer, that you can say that you've been hands on, you have specific examples to share when you're being interviewed. And having our training company is actually partnered and works alongside with a recruitment company. So we really hear customers are demanding, looking for where there may be some weaknesses. So over the years, we found that we needed to add certain components, or maybe some things weren't as essential. So that's been important. And then partners, sponsors, and our supporters. That's something that when I took my first course, I didn't understand the value or even really know much about it. And I would say that's been one of the most valuable things, is having connections with leaders at so many companies and knowing that they're familiar with the program and that the brand is meaningful. So the course content is very much around the Salesforce admin job itself, how to be successful. It's the essentials of the program, of what you need to know to be certified. But more importantly, it's what do you need to know to actually be a Salesforce administrator, or have that foundational knowledge if in fact you want to do a different role. You dive into third-party apps and how that works, so that you know how to be able to evaluate solutions for an organization that you may become part of. And a key piece to business analysis, and why you would want to have project management done in a way that's with the agile methodology. That's something that wasn't anything that I knew anything about. I did self-study to get certified, and it was very obvious to me after investing a lot of blood, sweat, and tears and time, that I really didn't learn through getting certified how to be successful. The other component that has been very helpful is coaching skills and techniques, both to help you learn and grow and develop and get hired and develop your career, but also those skills that you can use within the job. Because so often, as a Salesforce administrator or any of a variety of roles, you're not the boss. And so you really have to be skilled at being able to work with people and influence their behaviors and coach them and bring them along to have a successful component. And then we also have the admin certification fee is 50% off, and that's a voucher that we get from Salesforce. So we do have a 6-month structure, but I would like to be really clear that the foundational learning really takes place over about 12 weeks. So those first 12 weeks, you are diving into content. It's organized beautifully and has a blend of that in-person learning and flexible learning that just makes sense. Then and I would say it takes, kind of that ballpark is between 8 and 16 hours. So people really range based on what they already know, how they learn week to week. We do like to say on that high end to plan for that. So that includes that 2.5-hour live session, self-study, doing trailhead work, which is hands-on, and then work experience. So as you move into the later part of the program, that 16 hours will shift from hands-on and studying into work experience. We also have some other great learning opportunities of alumni events. There's fortnightly coaching sessions. We're into how to have an optimized LinkedIn profile to attract opportunities, hiring managers and recruiters, how to have optimized resumes, interview skills. So there's a lot of those areas which are really helpful. There's one-to-one coaching session that you'll be able to dive in, your specific career goals, and a lot of peer support, which is really beneficial. I think sometimes people ask me, and I meet with, all day long, people one-on-one who are evaluating what they want to do. And I think it's so helpful to know what actual, people that are being part of the community and taking the courses have to say. And there's so many people that have no technical background at all, or have had, significant career breaks, sometimes a small break, but some really large. One of my very first conversations, and she's gone on, she's now a Salesforce consultant. She had actually had 20 years of unpaid work break. She was a mom of 3 children, and as her kids went off to college, she decided to restart her career, and she really inspired me. So all of these are actually on the website if you want to listen to some of the interviews. They're not marketing, really polished pieces. They're very real conversations with people that have had the chance to do the courses and have had their challenges and really nice successes as well. So I would just encourage you to take that opportunity. And I'm going to go through just a couple other things, and then I will take your questions. And again, it is that live instructor training. Liam teaches this course, and he's amazing. He's very knowledgeable. He also just has such a great way of teaching and making it very accessible, and is very open to collaboration and questions. So I think he's really a talented trainer. The endorsements, so having a brand name that so many companies are aware of. And you can see along the bottom just a few of the sponsors. So these are also companies that hire Salesforce talent. So assuming that you do well, and I'm sure that you will, you leave with multiple references that can be used. And those are from the trainer, from your one-on-one mentor, and from your project manager or consultant that you will do your work experience with. So that's, again, really valuable. And part of, I don't know if any of you have taken any of the Salesforce tests, but the tests themselves they're a challenge. And there's a really great membership with Focus on Force that has tests, sample tests, so you can actually run through them and practice. And they have flashcards and mock exams, and it's really helpful for getting the knowledge there. And our whole goal, we're not a training company, certification prep company. You will be prepared for the test, but we really exist to help our community and our students to be really empowered and confident, have the knowledge, and just launch their careers or pivot their careers. So I do want to, I know that was quick. I know there's some questions. So please, why don't we, take some questions. I can answer. Let me stop sharing here. We can just have an open conversation. Happy to share anything with you, answer any of your questions.
So Heather, I think initially when I was attracted to Supermom's training program was because Heather Black shared her story when she initially started with Salesforce job. She started with a full-time, I'm sorry, a part-time position.
Yes.
So currently I'm actually I am having some health challenge. So I'm really looking for flexible work, working from home. But one of my criteria is to work part-time. And I actually have over 20 years of corporate America working experience. Actually, my specialty is in project management. And However, that I just got really burned out with as a project manager. I also spent almost close to 8 years as an e-commerce manager for a very small startup company.
Mm.
So I'm looking forward just to stepping down, not the person who's running the show. So my question is what's the likelihood to get a part-time position with a Salesforce admin certificate?
Yes, so it will require some, initiative and some, there's not, and this is true with any industry in terms of part-time jobs. There's not just tons of part-time jobs. So we are really good at helping you find those companies and for you to negotiate those kinds of opportunities as well. So that if you're somebody that there's so many companies that really don't need another full-time person, or they are doing fractional work. There's a lot of freelancers who do that. So they're able to come in. So it kind of depends on the details of what you are wanting and needing. If you need to be a company with benefits, if you can do freelance, if you can do fractional job, and there are definitely part-time roles that are available. And I think it's especially with project management as well, with that background, that is something that you could look at in terms of projects that are happening. And it depends if you want to be a Salesforce administrator, if you actually want that type of work and that's your goal, then looking for those either part-time positions, or they're looking to grow and they are open to having that new person to be part-time or looking for that specifically. But that project management and being on that either freelance or consulting side can be very flexible.
Mhm. Okay, thank you for that explanation. So and
Yeah.
also so my understanding is that for a Salesforce career, Salesforce administrator is the first certification, right? There's like a foundation certification that for someone to consider to go into that career. Have I understood that correctly?
Yes, yes. So it's a great foundational base. So even if you're somebody that does not want to be the administrator, it is what gives you the knowledge how the system works. If you're going to be doing business analysis, project management, marketing, consulting, all of those other roles, having your baseline certification is so key. Most of the rest of the certifications that are not developer oriented have those requirements of having the admin certification. Not all. Marketing Cloud's a good example of you can go into Marketing Cloud and get certified with Marketing Cloud without the admin certification, but then you really are missing that knowledge of how Salesforce works. So it is a great certification whether or not you want to actually do the job of a Salesforce administrator. So yes, you understood that correctly.
Okay. Okay. I don't. It looks like Shane Davy has a question. I have two more questions, but I
Oh,
would prefer you
perfect.
answer her
Oh,
question
there we
first
go.
because I don't
The
want to
chat.
take up the whole conversation.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. I don't know if you follow such statistics. Was there information about what the average time between ending the course and starting the job? Um, we don't have an average time. Part of why is we have a lot of people returning to work. And so many of them are getting skilled up, but they're not actually wanting to launch their career. So they're taking their training, they still have children in school, and they're taking their time. But for those who are actively looking, so they're either employed right now, they want to get their certification, get skilled up, and get to work, it is very important that from the beginning and early on that you're getting your LinkedIn profile optimized, your resume optimized as you add skills through the course, that you're getting that ready. We help you with your networking. If you're someone who hasn't been interviewing for a while, doing mock interviewing, working with the community, you can get employed very quickly. And now's really a great time. We're seeing there was a bit of a pause as the economy had a bit of a blip last year. Salesforce laid off a batch of people, but what we learned quickly is the people that were laid off, or the numbers of people, were what Salesforce had overhired during the pandemic. So if you took that overhiring out and went back about a year, that actually they were still growing. So that was a bit of a relief. There was a pause, and now we're seeing a lot of posted positions and people are growing again. So it's hard for me to say an exact time, but if that is your priority, then let us know that and let our team help you really get prepared so that you're doing things along the way. We do have people that do the course and then they start that process. So they're not ready to be applying and interviewing. So then they take some more time. But that's the priority. We can help you be fully ready, and you can interview along at the same time and really get to know companies and network and do those things while you're in the course. What other questions, or happy to answer anything. So it really is a unique program. Looking back, I left a career in corporate employee benefits and sales leadership, and I'm so glad about the pivot. It's been a really good move, and I see a tremendous amount of opportunity. It was very difficult to do outside of a course in a community. I can tell you that I wish I could go back and have those months back when I was trying to do it on my own. It's hard. It's hard to learn. India. So with the rise of AI being incorporated into most tech companies, will Supermums be offering a course with how to use AI integrations with Salesforce? Yes. So we actually launched a course that we're for a first cohort. We're doing an AI specific course, doing another one that's starting in January, but it will start to be integrated into, and is being integrated now into, the admin course, because you're right, it is. And Salesforce is all in. So I don't know if those of you had a chance to watch any of the Dreamforce, the big Salesforce conference that happened in September, but there were more than 200 sessions that were AI related. So it is clear that AI will be available throughout Salesforce. What we're finding right now, the initial wave is very much tied to Service Cloud and those components, and really helping people to customize that experience with customers, helping customers get real-time accurate information. And then the other place that we're seeing kind of secondary is the marketing space and using AI in that way. But we will see it throughout all areas of Salesforce. So yes, we have a specialized course that's actually, it's a great course. It's a 10-week course, so it's concentrated, but it is very much AI specific, and then it will be integrated into the admin course as well. What other questions could I answer? I'd love to know, have you all had a chance to kind of play around with AI, kind of taken the chance to play around with ChatGPT or using it at work at all?
Yes, I have used ChatGPT, and also I'm a certified project manager by PMI, so I'm required to be recertifying my certification every 3 years. So there's a lot of talk with AI in the project management field as well. So it's like a really hot topic, AI
Yes.
right now, yeah, in project management.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so a question about, so should someone wait until January for the course to be included in the admin course? Let me be clear. The AI course is a standalone course, so that will remain a standalone course. So it's not, that whole course won't be integrated into the admin certification in the course there, but the admin course itself is going to have AI incorporated into the conversation and learning, because it's just going to be such a foundational piece of it. So it will be included. It is being talked about now. So there won't be um, any value in waiting until the next round. Let's see. Okay, so used it for resumes and papers. It's very intricate. It's fascinating to watch, and I think it's going to be. We had a guest speaker on the AI course, and he was with a big consulting company. They did a project recently with Virgin Cruise Lines, and this whole chatbot experience that was virtual was really fascinating. The consumer experience to getting questions. Okay, so I'm looking into this, but I'm 53. Are there many opportunities for older workers? I've never worked in tech, worked in legal insurance environment, using Salesforce, dabbled in Trailhead, played with ChatGPT. So I came from the insurance space and I am 52. So it was a scary, huge decision to pivot my career, and I was not sure what to expect. And I think it's probably naive to say that there isn't some challenge with that. I think there are at times, but I would say Salesforce in general, because of the work that's being done with Salesforce, unlike coding or some technology that's very like use case specific, Salesforce is being designed for business outcomes, business transformation. That experience, life experience, is valuable. The transferable skills that can go from a prior life into, for instance, talking to teachers, right? That, how do I make this change? I haven't worked with it. Well, there's Education Cloud is a huge component of Salesforce. So to be able to move that experience over. So I think in general, in the tech field, Salesforce and a lot of the related, customers, company are available for people of all ages, but there is value in that experience. So I think there's a lot of examples of that and having success and having, I can just share my experience, and then some of the folks that I've talked to, it's like, if I make this change now, what does this look like for the rest of my career? Is this, this is a more challenging time to make a pivot because it needs to work, right? It may not have quite as long to recover. So what I have found is that there's such opportunity and growth. The last big report that was done is indicating that there'll be more than 11 million more Salesforce related jobs created globally between today and 2028. It's a lot of growth. So that was something for me looking at, I thought was important. But I would say, being, I'd say the other component for me, and I went to school, computers was a class you took, which seems so absurd today, but that was the deal. So not having current tech skills is a vulnerable place, especially with the onset of AI being so readily available today. So I really appreciated that, even if I had misstepped and I decided I didn't want to do it, Salesforce, I felt like the learning, the hands-on, getting technology, getting these current skills was so valuable. And I feel completely different than I did 4 years ago when I started down this, and feel like whatever job I went for, I could figure out the tech and embraced AI. And that was not the life that I had before. So that's just, I guess, a personal experience. Challenge to get your own super badge. Yes, you can. Trailhead is phenomenal and you can learn a lot. You can get prepped for certification, but it is hard and there's so many different things to learn. And if you really want to get employed and know how to really do a great job and be a valued employee, I think it's very difficult to do that on your own. I think you can start there, but I think it's when you get to work. But having a structured course where it teaches you how to actually do the work is just a game changer. So I'd say the biggest investment is the time because it's a lot of time. It's a big commitment, but the return on it is that you're well prepared and very employable. Okay, let's see. Um, so pivot, can you pick it up? Is there a mentor task question? So there is a lot of learning. And I would say at the beginning, there's a bit of, you can get stuck a little bit when especially if you don't come from a area where you've been using systems or technology. And it's that patience and determination, like I'm going to figure it out. And it's actually quite intuitive, and Salesforce is built on clicks, not code today. There are certainly things that need to happen that require very, very talented technical people. But for the most part, you can do so many things with just clicks and the learning around it. And it's not that language of learning code that can be so challenging. So it's a working through it. You'll be hands-on and it's very doable. And we have seen, I'd say our community probably more than any other that I've seen is people that are going back to work that have no tech background, completely unrelated, getting in and learning and being really inspired by what you can do with the system and how you can really have impact and transform companies. So you do have a mentor. I don't want to convey that like this person's available to just like one-on-one questions and help you all the time. This is not a Supermum employee. This is someone in the ecosystem. They're often Salesforce Corporation employees. They have to give 1% of their hours a year to charity. And that's what they do with us. They're not all Salesforce employees, but a lot of them are. So they will be there to help you on this venture. They'll meet and see how things are going with your homework. They can actually log into the same system. They'll meet you at a regular cadence, but they're not going to be there for like lots of detailed work because depending on what you're working on, they may or may not actually do that kind of job. But you are going to have the community. So you'll have between really 15 and 30 people in your cohort, and you're all doing the course together and you are in this like nice rhythm. So people often will work together and work through challenges. And then you have your live sessions. So you can get help in the live session. We also have a ticketing process. So if you really get stuck and need some help, you can put in a case and then you'll get some help. So there's a lot of ways to get the support that you need. I hope I didn't miss anybody here. Let me scroll back. I think I got it. Okay. What else? Any other questions? I would really encourage, any of you, if you decide, well, one, if this isn't the right timing or the right thing, please dig into the community and get involved and just learn and see if this is the right fit for you. I just really encourage you to take full advantage of the community and the leaders who support us and leverage the time that you're in Supermums training because people will be so gracious and connect with you, and you can set up lots of informational interviews. So there's so much support. It's a lovely mission and people are so happy to help. So take advantage of that. And it's something that I think for many people during a job search, career pivot, you don't get. that kind of warmth and support. And it truly is there, but you've got to lean into it and ask for some help with it. And we'll be, thrilled to do that. Charlene, do you have a question?
Yeah, I have a question. I think when I was watching Heather's um challenge, like a 5-day challenge video, in the very first video, she talked about the entrance to your very first Salesforce job is using the your past experience, meaning like if you're in the financial industry, go down that route of that, using your past experience to get the entrance to your first Salesforce job. And my vertical happens to be financial industry. I'm actually really burned out from financial industries. So I remember when you were walking through the slides, you mentioned about the career coaching support. I really wanted to pivot out of financial service industry. I did my best, but so long story short, I wanted to pivot out into like academic. Um, I'm actually an artist or any creative industries. I guess with that, I guess my question, I know it's really way down the road, but I just wanted to know when I get to that point, that would help me there to help me to pivot out of the financial industry as a vertical.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And I'd say she tends to mention that because we really want people, especially if they're moving careers and they really have a specific income target. Sometimes when you don't have the Salesforce experience, you need to find the other piece that's valuable that can get you more money, frankly. So that's an easy way to do that. But in your situation, you also have this really interesting project management background that would be very applicable to any industry. So finding those companies that are looking to add more clouds or, that expand, there's going to be a lot of projects there of where you can bring some of that background and identifying not the finance side, but how do you bring forward the other impact that you've had that has value and bring more if you want something more creative of bringing that into your LinkedIn profile, into your resume. So a company that values that is going to see that in you because your current resume may feel very financial industry focused. It may not, but that's typically what happens.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then your perfect job and the perfect company, you're like, well, they're not a good fit, but they don't see the rest of you. So that's what we can help you with is how do we bring those other elements of your professional life, but also your personal life, right? And your talent, your innate talents and interests, bring that forward so that the right person recognizes you
Mm-hmm.
as, oh, this is our fit.
Mm-hmm.
So
Thank
that's the piece of, and there's sometimes that's where the coaching comes in of getting really clear. And for some people, they don't really care. They just want to get to work, right?
mm-hmm.
So they'll take a job and get the experience and then figure it out. For
Mm-hmm.
others, they need to make a certain amount because they're changing jobs and they have bills to pay. So it's figuring out what do you really need in the shorter term, and we can help you with that. Longer term, that's a much easier thing to build that path where, getting you where you need to go. But sometimes it's that first transition that needs some nuance and then the right people. So we'll help you figure out who are the people you need to meet and what are the companies that are going to value what you bring to the table, but that you're going to value what they do and what their values are and how they serve the world.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Thank you. And also, I know the next Salesforce admin training course starts on November 6th. And I'm assuming this training will be offered again in 2024,
It
right?
will. The next one will be in February.
Oh, okay. Next one will be February, but the one is coming up is in November. Okay.
Yes, it starts the week in 2 weeks. So it starts the week of the 6th.
Okay. And also, that you mentioned about like the drag and clicks
Mhm.
using the Salesforce. So I'm assuming this is just really a big assumption. So I wanted to ask, so it's not a lot of coding involved, right?
You don't
For
actually need to code at all. So you don't need to code to have a Salesforce role. There is coding that happens, and especially the custom companies that have custom systems, there are developers that get involved. And some admin roles can benefit from some coding to be able to do some things quickly, but
Mhm.
there are many roles and most admins are not coding.
Mhm. So did your first Salesforce job, was your first Salesforce job as an admin as well? Is this how you start your Salesforce career?
Me personally,
Yeah.
no, I've never done a set an admin role. I didn't, that wasn't a role that I wanted. I
Oh.
wanted to do consulting specifically. I was the customer side and worked with consultants
Mm,
and honestly didn't have a good experience and really wanted to learn what could I have done differently as a leader that brought Salesforce in. And
mm,
that was so interesting. But the admin, this course and the admin certification gave me the knowledge of Salesforce that I needed to even do that type of work.
oh, okay. So you did have a admin certification, admin
I did.
certification, but
Yes. I just didn't
that's
have a
not
job. Right.
okay. But you go on with a different direction, not having
Yes.
the okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. And so the admin certification gives you that foundation. And more than that, the course does. So the course, you don't need to know agile project management. You don't need to know business analysis to get your certification, but you do need to have those approaches to be successful as an admin and as part of a team. So there's many things about the Supermums program that are just about how can you be successful going to work and not as much about how do I pass my test and get my certification. You both happen, but there's other courses where it's just a certification prep class and you pass your test and you may or may not have any idea how to actually do the work. There's a question, are there openings for the November course? There are still a few openings for the November course. It will close at the end of, I think, on Thursday. So if it's something that you are interested in doing, I'd really encourage you to get enrolled. We'll get you going. Or if you need some more like personalized questions, please feel free to schedule some time, send an email, um, or use the link, and I'll drop a Calendly link. I think most of you probably have found your way through the communications that's on all of the emails, unless I think I recognize most of your names except one of you. Every email that you're getting from Supermums or the challenge, there's going to be the link to schedule a career call.
mm,
There are payment options. So it is one-time pay or three-time payments. There's a little elevation for the three-time payment. Not much, but it'll be over those 3 months. Um, so both, whatever works best for you. Any other questions? I'm going to pull up my Calendly link here really quick. Sorry, I should have had that pulled up. Let me put that in the chat oops. Um, if you want to book with me directly, and if you don't see a time that works well for you, please definitely feel free to let me know and we will get you connected with my colleague Lynn. Um, okay, here we go. Sometimes it's just like there you go. Oh, great. I'm excited that India, your comment of being excited. I honestly, it's just such a pleasure. I know my role is like to share about Supermums and like what else am I going to say except it's wonderful. But I mean, I genuinely, this is not anything I anticipated doing professionally. So I found Supermums as a student and ended up the timing was right before the pandemic, and Supermums is in the UK, so I am on the west coast of the United States. So I was actually able to work during the pandemic during the early morning while my children were sleeping so I could help them. They were in grade school when we were in lockdown. So this was sort of an accidental thing for me. And I've just had such an amazing, rewarding experience watching people go through the course, plug in the community, get into their careers and get promoted and find their place and take their next courses. And it's just been amazing to watch what has happened. So I can genuinely say it's truly a special community and a special course. And for those of you who have done much research, it is an investment, and there's a huge amount of value in it. Our sponsors pay for a lot of our overhead to make it possible, and Salesforce has a similar curriculum in terms of like the prep for the certification piece. So none of the none of the mentoring and work experience, none of the other things. It's 5 days and it is double the cost. And it's just 5 days long. So it's if that's something that was I just didn't quite understand how it was possible to have a 6 month course and all the things. It's because the sponsors really believe in the mission, and some of them, they need to invest more in women in tech because they have not enough women in their companies. So they're inspired because they kind of need to for their own sake. But most really have just kind of a passion and an interest, and they not only help fund our company, they also support our super moms and hold special trainings, and it can be a great place to go look to work as well. So, will Supermoms assist with helping us find careers? Yes. So we do have a recruiting side to it's a separate company, but it is a recruiting company. We have customers. We've helped, hundreds of people get jobs. I would say, are those are most of you in the United States, given the time frame? Yeah. So there honestly is a little less of that in the United States because the recruiting company has been running longer in the UK. And so we absolutely will help. Oh, and in Canada, right? We will definitely help you with who's hiring, getting introductions into the companies that really have flexible work, flexible hiring. There are less, I don't want to overstate. We don't have as many direct placements in the United States and Canada because we don't have as many customers as we do in the UK, but that is growing all the time. So we've been running in the UK for 7 years, and we've been in the United States for just about 4. So just a little less time. So East Coast, and some companies are happy to have international employees. So kind of depends on where you want to work and how. But we'll definitely be able to help you identify hiring managers, recruiters, companies that are actively hiring, companies when, there's really great ways to investigate organizations that cater to families and to parents and flexible work and part-time work. And so there's ways to do that and to target on LinkedIn so that you're connected to and visible to those particular companies. Yeah, and remote. I mean, being remote or hybrid, it has like changed my life. I can't even fathom going back and having to go. But that's just for me. For some people, I know that's a really important part of the career. I think earlier in my career, I would not have had my career if I had had to try and figure it out from home, but today. So, and just to be, and you're so welcome. So happy. I'm actually not Heather. I'm using her account. Her picture's up in the participant section. So I'm sorry about that. I should have changed it. My name's Shellen Brion. So I'm here on Heather's behalf. She's 8 hours later, so it's the middle of the night for her. So I am covering this and using her account. So I should have changed her name to mine. But thank you for being here, and I'm so happy to share the information. And again, if you want to have any more conversation, please book in some time. I know Lynn and I both have time through the week, and I work on Saturdays. So that's one, Charlene, one flexible way is to find the blocks of time that you want to work, and not necessarily part-time's one way for sure. The other is to find somebody really open to allowing you to flex your time to work best for how you want to live.
And also, can you tell me one more time again? You said that even though you got the training with the admin certification, but you didn't work as an administrator. So what was your first Salesforce job again? I'm so sorry that I didn't.
Yeah, no, so I got certified right before the pandemic. So I worked for Supermums, and then I worked for Lorian and did Salesforce recruiting, actually. So I didn't do anything that I had planned to do. So I have gone on to get a couple more certifications, but I worked alongside of a Salesforce recruiting team for Lorian, which is how I learned that side of the business. And then I spent a year going to the Salesforce conferences around the country and speaking and working on promoting Lorian. So so it's been really interesting. I didn't actually go into the role that I anticipated.
Oh, okay. That's a really, I love the story. You just never know,
You never know. And I would say, to be really open, one of the, I think, really exciting things about Salesforce is there's so many places to go. So originally I was absolutely going to do employee benefits, health insurance, financial services, consulting, or I was going to work at Salesforce, the company. And I was certain 100%. And then as I learned more, there's so many really cool, the App Exchange. If you Google Salesforce App Exchange, you'll see all these amazing companies that are partner organizations. And they have all these just fascinating solutions that these independent, small companies, larger companies have created. So there's so many different opportunities. And I'd say just be really open-minded, meet as many people as you can. LinkedIn makes it so easy to do. Do little like, hey, we set up a 10-minute conversation. I'd love to ask you a couple little questions, 15, 20 minutes. Ask people what they do. What's a day in the life like? And that's fascinating because a Salesforce admin at a small organization where you're wearing lots of hats is a completely different, week in the life than a Salesforce admin that's part of a team of 18 people at an enterprise company. So sometimes it's really asking questions and meeting people and finding out what they do and where they're happy. It's very easy to get involved virtually or in person, really almost anywhere in the world.
Thank you. That's a fascinating story. I love it.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited for you all, and we never want to convince anything of anyone, anyone of anything. We want this to be the right fit. It is a commitment. It's work, certainly. It's rewarding, but it's a challenge, and we want it to be the right fit, and we want to make sure that we're the solution for what you need at this time. And if not, just hang out with us and join the community and watch and learn. And over time, I think it's interesting for people to just see the kinds of in short order, you see people hired, promoted, finding a new job. So, all right. Well, thank you all for being here. And I think